so the 2nd of December, and we have Tony Flannery in from Clover Meats.
No,
sorry.
From Limerick Baking Company.
The Limerick Baking Company.
Clover Meats
sorry.
and Donnelly's and
Galty
Foods. I worked in all
oh my God,
places.
okay. So will we start from the start? So where did you work first?
I started off with the Donnelly's of Dublin in 1963.
Okay.
62 rather. And I worked from them for, I was their salesperson here in Limerick City and Limerick County, County Clare as well, and Tipperary. And until 1967.
Okay, so you were there a couple of years. Yeah.
Donnelly's went into voluntary liquidation.
Okay.
And at that time, Donnelly's were trying to make inroads with their sausages. They were renowned for their skinless sausages at the time. They built a very modern factory in Dublin, and they used to supply 3 vans here in Limerick with the bacon, sausages, and the produce, the pig's produce. And we used to deliver from Limerick to the different counties. At the time, bacon wasn't to come into the shops inside. The workers inside the shops, the attendants inside the shop, would slice the bacon into rashers. There was no pre-packs at the time.
Oh, okay.
Sausages were very loose, and the same way with puddings and black and white puddings. Ham, cooked ham there was a special slicer then to cooked, to slice the cooked ham as well. Bacon was sliced down here because it's a very big machine, you see.
Yeah.
And then there was a more refined machine.
One in the shops
slice the ham. And everything was wrapped with paper and greased with paper. Yeah. And there was very few fridges in the county, Limerick, County Clare. Say North Clare, North and East and West Clare. If you'd have 10 fridges in shops, in all the shops you would attend, you could have about 40 to 50 shops to attend to, but in all those, there'd only be about maybe 10 fridges.
Okay.
So you delivered 3 days a week to those places because it was fresh, very fresh to hold. There was very little preserves put into the meat
very
in those
good,
days.
unlike today.
And it isn't until, say, Clover were doing a very fine trade, great trade in their bacon trade and their sausages, but their meat, their bacon was good trade, but it had to be sliced, quartered, the whole lot of it. And then in 1967, Galty Foods came on the market in Mitchelstown, and I was lucky enough to have an interview with those people, and I got on as a salesman there from 67 to 79, and they revolutionised the whole trade. They brought in pre-packs
for bacon, was it?
Of everything.
Of
sliced
everything,
bacon, sliced ham, everything was pre-packed. And they brought in every modern convenience you could imagine for shops and shopkeepers. And they encouraged people to sell more products of the pig. With the result, when I was working for Donnelly's Dublin, we had German butchers in Dublin. They specialised in, say, salami rolls and all those. And they used to send them down to Limerick, and I got into Shannon Airport. I met Chef Ryan, the executive chef there, and Chef Andre, he was his assistant at the time. And they took on these special delicatessen rolls for the kitchen and the flight kitchen as well, you see. So when Donnelly's went into liquidation, all that business fell through. So when Galty Foods came along, I introduced a lot of the pre-packed stuff, which they were very keen on and to take on board. The bacon was separately cured, specially cured for a lot of people like that. They try to eradicate the salt in the bacon and bring it a bit sweeter and more acceptable to the palate.
Change the flavours.
And with the result that I went back again to Chef Ryan, and he introduced the stuff to the duty-free shop. All our products, the Galty Foods products, were displayed there, and also it went to the flight kitchen. The meals in the flight kitchen were made up, and any ham or bacon that would be, say, rashers would be fried or specially cooked for the flights that was leaving Shannon to different areas. Took aboard Galty Foods. So I left the Galty Foods in 1980, and I went out on my own selling bacon, selling the produce.
And where did you get the bacon from then?
I got it from all sources then, you see. More especially from the Limerick Bacon Retail Company in Roches Street. And they were producing a very good quality ham. And that was a good, product to sell, good market, because people were interested in,
and this was
lunches.
on Roches Street, so. Yeah. And where would they have got that?
They cooked it themselves.
Okay, and they would have got that from farmers or from.
No, well, they bought the what was it called, the gammons, to cook them themselves. They bought them from different factories. They might have bought them from Clover Meats, but whatever factory was there, Denny's, whatever place, they'd get a good bargain on a consignment of gammons or bacon. They'd buy that in, and then they'd bone out the ham and cook it. And it was a very, very good product at the time. So
you then went out and
then went from that on my own after 4 years. The Limerick Bacon Retail Company decided to put a number of vans on the road, and they brought in another lot of modern stuff. So we went from, say, in Donnelly's, when I started off first, we had books in our receipt books were in duplicate, to triplicate, with at the beginning with Galty Foods. Then Galty Foods introduced a computer aboard the van, and you had a handheld computer with all the customers' numbers in it.
So they went very
and
modern.
The product number as well. And whatever they'd buy it from you, you could key that in and connect it up to the computer or the printer in the back of the van, and that printed out a receipt for the customer. They knew exactly what they had.
So this is in the early 80s, we'll say, is it, Tony?
Pardon?
Is this the early 80s then, is it? Or?
It was in the it was around about the 70s. They brought in we had calculators. Say ready rectors, we'll say, the calculators, and then Galty brought in this handheld product. Was a massive thing, but it was like everything else. Had to be, they refined these things, and they were user friendly than offers to all the salespeople. But the Limerick Bacon Company then took on all these customers that we had originally with Donnelly's, Galty Foods, and we went out and they involved themselves with different areas. They put 5 vans into Waterford, which was a great thing to do at the time, because things were kind of tough at the time, the 80s. And they had all modern equipment, very, very modern equipment. The factory was built outside in Raheen. It was purpose built in the 1983, 84. And it closed down in 91.
And why did that close down then, Tony?
It was Galty Foods were coming on very, very strong, and they were expanding. We're buying an awful lot of bacon companies. They bought an awful lot of bacon companies in Poland, and in different countries. They bought some bacon companies in France. They bought bacon companies in England as well. So Limerick Bacon Company was, as I said, modern, purpose built, and they had their eye on that. So Goodman wanted the place as well for to put his beef storage in the Limerick Bacon Company outside in Raheen as well.
Okay.
But it was a question. We had the export license for the United States. The Limerick Bacon Company had to export bacon to the United States. They were the only company in, I'd say, Ireland, England, that had this license to export it. And Galtee more or less came along and made them an offer which they couldn't refuse. Took it over, and then they moved the factory, practically all its Polish down to Mitchelstown. Made everybody that either you got the offer of a job in Mitchelstown, 35 miles away, or else take an offer of redundancy, either the two. So we chose the redundancy at the time.
You did,
So that was it.
So you finished up working there then?
We did.
Yeah.
Well, I went on from that, from the bacon to some other career after that. I was a ministerial driver for 4 years for the government and a few different things, but that was the end of the bacon trade. Well, not the bacon trade, but the bacon sales in Limerick City.
Very good.
Anything local was gone then from the city.
From the city, so it was all just being exported into other places, but Galtee were one of the main people.
They closed down a lot of the abattoirs in the country, and there's only the very, very big companies that survived all these things. That you had to there was terrible, fierce restrictions and licenses for abattoirs. You had to comply with an awful lot of rules and regulations, which a lot of people couldn't do, couldn't afford to modernise their place. And they went out of business. And with the result, say, Danish, I think, were about the only company that were left. There's one or two more, I just can't think of off, Oldhausen and a few more of them up around the country that continue the business of
bacon
trade, but very few people are doing it at present. You will not, Galtee then closed down their factory in Mitchelstown, and they were sending their labels, say, to Poland to have their bacon wrapped in Galtee food wrappers, but it wasn't produced in Ireland. It was produced outside in Poland. You weren't getting an Irish product
or Limerick Hammer or anything.
So it's a pity like that a lot of that happened, that the tradition of say eating Irish product was gone completely out of the country.
So this is by the 80s, we'll say?
Yeah, by the 80s. The demise came in there, you see. As I said, it was a great, great trade. I mean, then again, people's tastes varied, they changed. Like, there was, we'll say, people introduced, say, chicken as an alternative, and then the chickens were quartered, the chickens were cooked, the chickens were dressed in different, they went into selling the chicken in a big way. Same with pizzas, everything, all those things. Before we put in the morning into Roach's stores there in Limerick, which are gone at present, you could put in 200 to 300 pounds of sausages, and the next morning you'd have to replace them again. But who's eating sausages today? Who's eating rashers today? It's very, people have a different taste in the morning or in the afternoon for whatever they wanted, but it was a big trade. It was a very, very big trade. The same way with different supermarkets, Besco supermarket, the 5-star supermarket. You'd have to fill all those places up in the morning before you go to the country to service the NSN and Lange, Kilkee and all those places. You'd have to have all those supermarkets serviced with bacon and rashers and sausages as well before you left the city. And then off out to the different areas. You did service those areas in the country 3 days a week, as I said, and the city was done every day. So the trade, as I said, the people's tastes changed as well down along the line, and as you saw, television came in and advertised other products, and people had a free will to taste these things too.
I'd say Limerick was changing at that time anyway. It wasn't. What do you remember of Limerick at the time? Was there a lot of people employed, or?
There's quite a number of people employed in the shoe factory. There was great employment there in Mulder Street, there opposite the prison. The clothing factory above there in Edward Street. There was, I think, 200 or 300 people worked up there.
Okay.
That closed down in the 50s, 60s. O'Donovan's, Danis clothing factory, they were employed. Matterson's had a big. You had Matterson's, Clover Meats, and O'Mara's, and all those factories employed an awful lot of people.
Yeah.
And it changed radically.
But you must have been one of the last then. Your company must have been,
one of the last.
So you didn't stop until the 80s?
I didn't stop until 90 actually.
Yeah. And did they employ a lot of people then, Tony? Or?
The Limerick Baking Company employed 65 people.
So it wasn't as big as Clover Meats or anything?
No, but it was modernised.
Yeah, it was definitely from what you're saying.
Before in Clover Meats, they'd have foremen doing a job. The new factories had one person, maybe one girl doing foreman's work, because everything was done online. All the wrapping was done online. All the sausage making as well. It was a good trade, but changed very, 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 very quickly. Then you had the supermarkets brought in other products then from the England and the continent, and with that, as I say, it kind of more or less ate into the trade of what we had here in the city going. What we had in the country. Actually, it was a great product. We were all in the pig's back at the time, but
I know, literally,
and metaphorically, but we were, and as the old saying is, we sold everything but the squeak. But at that time, it was a great thing for. It's a good product to feed people that couldn't afford a big meal. Yeah. And it was great off trade too as well. People used to sell big stoves or crow beans cooked down in a few different shops. And at one stage there was 60 in Parnell Street. There was 63 baking shops.
On Parnell Street.
On Parnell Street. There, you know the railway station just down there. I was born in number 31 Parnell Street.
Oh, were you? Oh my God, okay.
But I didn't realise that I'd ever be attached to the baking trade afterwards.
Yeah.
But the trade, they had Matterson's, they had O'Mara's and the Clover Meats. Well, it was Shaw's at the time, and we remember it. And there was a lot of people that had, it was a good product to feed people. And I didn't think anybody had any ill effects from it. Today they're finding all sorts of problems.
It's more processed now as well, isn't it?
I saw there was a report in from Germany that you could be eaten, to be safer to eat asbestos than to eat bacon or something. Somebody came up with that saying there recently. So I don't know what way these people have. It's too much of any product could be detrimental to your health.
Yeah.
So, and it depends. I mean, you could afford to eat bacon, maybe I couldn't. I could afford to eat fish and you couldn't.
Yeah.
So that
depends on the family, we'll say.
Yeah. But it was, Friday was a horrific day for us because we had to get out there. Good Friday was a great trade because it was the beginning, coming on to Easter, and it was the last day of fast in the country. And everybody would stock up for Easter. It was a great trade of that day. And be a lot of shops shut for the holiday.
For that weekend?
For the church regulations. You know, that people used to go to the services on that day, but you'd have to be out early, about 7 o'clock or maybe earlier than that to get the furthest away point and work your way back into the city then.
My God.
It was a trade that you had maybe 7 or 8 bacon vans going out in the city. You had fruit vans, you had bread vans. Yeah. All those trades are gone. You don't see any of those vans anymore. Pity that all these businesses, you see the dent now of it, and well, you can't institute it again. People have gone into a different
It's
style of
changed now,
lifestyle again. But I don't know what you've gleaned from anybody else as far as the trade is concerned. I'm only after giving you a very brief. I couldn't give you day by day
Yeah.
thing, but there were days there and they were very, very happy. Days there were very, very hard and winter. We went out in vans that had no heaters, no window washers, no radios. Sometimes the
long
floor
day.
would be rotting away with the salt and the bacon, and you had all the water and everything. You know, you had to go fully equipped sometimes with maybe 2 to 3 jackets leaving the van, because the first
You
jacket
need
get
them.
wet, you use the second one.
And did they supply these jackets to you then, Tony, or
They might supply one,
one?
maybe a white coat
So your own money
or
would
a
have to
blue
get
coat,
you
whichever
another.
it was. The rest you provided yourself.
Yeah.
And you brought 2, maybe sometimes you brought 3 flasks of tea, black tea. You brought the milk and the sugar and the bread, whatever. You wouldn't get, like today, you wouldn't get a garage or anything like that, but you could get a cup of tea or make up your own. There was no such thing as a sandwich. You brought everything that you had. It was like going out on an exhibition, an expedition rather, out to the wilds of different places. So really,
And you travelled far, so you did.
I often got a breakdown in the van, and you wouldn't see a house for maybe 2 to 3 miles away. You wouldn't see a house around the place. If you'd have to walk along the road. If you got a puncture, get down, get out the spare wheel. If the spare wheel is punctured, get out your patches, take out the tube, pump it up, and on the road again. Or the radiator boiled over, going to a farmer and see what he could conjure up to get you on the road again. People are very, very cooperative too. Like if you got a breakdown,
more friendly, I'd say.
at night time, if it's dark or if it was very, very, if they thought you wouldn't get home, they'd insist on you staying with them for the night. Like,
Oh my God.
they were very, very, very kind and very generous and very hospitable at the time. It's unreal the amount of goodwill with the people at the time. Today, I don't have to open the door for you today, but still, it was good, very good-natured people at the time. But it was Donnelly's had a great scheme at the time, as I said, when I was with them. If you didn't take a day off outside of your holidays, if you didn't go sick or anything like that, for a full 12 months, you got £100 into your hand on Christmas week.
Oh, very
plus
good.
your commission, plus your wages.
Plus your commission and your wages.
It was like winning the lottery. Absolutely. It was,
I can imagine.
at the time,
Christmas,
a pound was 240 pence.
So what were your holidays? What were you allowed for holidays?
You get
then?
a week's holidays.
For the whole year?
The whole year.
Okay.
And but the holiday, you get the holidays, the general holidays of the year, like national holidays as well. But you had to be there. You had to be, as I said, they had 240 pennies, and you get 480 halfpennies. You get bags of coppers, and you get bags of pennies, 3-penny pieces, 6-penny pieces, shillings, 2-shilling pieces, half-crowns. That's all your cash. And then you had a 10-shilling note. Yeah. That was £0.50. Then you had £1. Then you had a fiver. And tenors are very scarce.
Okay.
You never see a £20 note at the time. It's all small money.
Right, it was all change.
You'd have that stored in the bag. You never carried stored in the van, but you never carried a bag. Okay. It was too obvious. It could be knocked off. Yeah. So sometimes in the last maybe 3 or 4 calls, you could get £20 in cash, hard cash, and bring that. Have it all ready for the bank the next morning. Make your lodgement in the bank as well.
Okay, and no one would rob the van or anything while you were out of it?
No. Okay. Not those days. Today, the take van and all, and yourself with it, I suppose. Yeah. Maybe I couldn't tell you. But the thing was that you had to be a salesman. You had to be. You had to lodge your money.
Yeah.
You had to make your keep an account of the stock.
Yeah.
So you were jack of all trades.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Not alone, like as I said.
And you'd have to come back to Limerick then for your supplies.
Yeah, well, I was living in Limerick every day, and we had a depot here in Limerick as well. But
And the depot was Roche Street now, or was it Raheen?
No, there was a factory, there was a garage outside the factory outside in Raheen, with the Limerick Baking Company, or with Donnelly's. We had a garage down in Summer Street, down there alongside Gerald Griffin Street.
Yeah, Irish.
And with Galty Foods, the truck was at the side of the road, and we had a truck come up at night, and he had a set keys rather, and he'd open the back of the van, put in the new load, and then go away down service towards vans in outside in Cork as well. And we had there was a lot of you had to watch everything, check your load before you leave in the morning, because the back of the van was always
unlocked,
susceptible to it. But we brought in the first of the refrigerated vans, Galty Foods, brought them in at the time.
Very good. So they were very modern, weren't they?
Before that we had no refrigeration.
Okay.
No. As I said, there were very few fridges around the country.
And how long would the bacon be in the van for before it would go off?
It shouldn't go off.
It wouldn't
last that long enough.
Okay.
It should never be in the van that long.
Okay.
You took it out. There was a fridge in the depot.
Yeah.
And you took it out of the fridge, put it in the van. Well, the most would be in the van, say about 4 to 5, 6 hours at the most.
Okay.
But it wouldn't be.
Yeah, it wouldn't be.
The
wouldn't
bacon,
have time to
wasn't. As I said, there was no additives in the bacon then, and it was very fresh at the time. And the people then would quarter the bacon or rasher bacon as well, you see. But there were very few at the time in the 60s. There was no pre-packs around.
Okay.
Nothing was vacuum packed.
Until Galty
until Galty came under the line.
Very
and they revolutionised the whole trade as far as that was concerned, and they brought in a lot of equipment that people they had in-store demonstrations then to promote their product as well. They had ladies dressed up with all sorts of gimmick and gadgets as well, but cooking a product inside the store to knock the socks off you, the smell of the bacon and the sausages frying. It was a great attraction for people. They loved it, all these things. But they brought out all sorts of gimmicks to sell their products, brand X, what's in brand X, and all this all different names for different
like comparing
promotions
products,
promotions.
Okay.
But I always maintain, give the guy behind the counter the incentive to sell your product. He'll promote it for you, not the gimmicks. The customer will only take it if they feel, but if there's somebody pushed it from behind the counter, it'll always sell. At one stage, I tried to get the company I was with, I think it was Donnelly's, to sell a product, say wrap product with a pound of sausages, a pound of rashers, black and white pudding, a pound of lard fried stuff, all for under £1.
Okay.
Pound for pound, that's what I wanted. And it was a good gimmick. It nearly came off, except they went into voluntary liquidation before this thing materialised at all. But should have sold the product as well.
It would
have been extra sales for them. But that, as I said, unless I'm, could recall day by day, it is very difficult to remember. Like the song ago, I started 45 years ago selling stuff. So it's a good, many pigs went down the road after that. So it's a good trade, it's a good business, it was a good business to be in, because you're meeting people daily, and you heard their trials and tribulations, their woes, and
a whole lot.
You saw people, generations grew up alongside you, like you call into a shop to be a newborn baby there, and before you leave the road to be going to college or something like that, the kids would be grown up around the place. It was nice to see it. It's lovely to see.
Very different, isn't it?
And it's a great time to see the country and to get to know people. There, the latter end of the Limerick Baking Company, I was delivering to Trimnavon and Kells. I was delivering to Belfast during the troubled times.
Okay.
And I was there in the late 80s, 88, and there was a lot of
Trouble.
problems about there. You see houses being burnt and cars being burnt, and a lot of. We were lucky. I was very, very lucky at the time that we weren't hijacked, because they were hijacking all the southern companies coming up there.
And how do you think he got away then, Tony? How do you think he got away with that?
I had
just lucky, or
I have a number of cousins up in Coscar and Stainfield outside, and Ballyhinch outside Belfast, and I stayed with them.
Okay.
And I knew the roads to
get
go
there or whatever.
To different places.
And you were taking up Limerick produce up there, was it?
I was.
It's very good. Even though they had their own baking factories, or.
Yep. So that.
And that was the late 80s, we'll say.
Just the late 80s, 88, 86 to 88. And it was tough times. I mean, you'd leave here 3 o'clock in the morning, you expected to be maybe drive. 2 o'clock in the morning to get up.
Yeah.
To take you 7 hours to get up to the border. You had to have everything written out in triplicate to export your bacon out into another country, another state, and you had everything signed and properly done out, otherwise they wouldn't accept your product.
Yeah.
And you'd be stopped by the army 5 or 6 times to check your license and insurance, and check to hide any illegal stuff in the back of the van as well. But
my God.
it was scary.
So your hours, it wasn't set hours a day, it kind of varied?
No.
But it was Monday to Friday, you wouldn't work Saturday and Sunday, or?
No. Well, just Monday to Friday, Monday to any order to. When I was with Galty Foods, we had a contract with the Shannon Airport, the hotels and the kitchen, flight kitchen, the duty free, and if there was a run on stuff, they could call me. I'd have to go to the Sunday morning to deliver stuff outside or to as well. So you wouldn't compensate for that. It's part of the business. That was it.
And were the wages good, Tony? Then
wages weren't that great, but commission was good. But
so
then again,
commission,
you work for your commission. Then they put the firms were clever enough to put say, we'll have a promotion on say ham this week, but they knew exactly what you sold for the past previous 3 years.
Yeah. And
they'd say, well, you have to reach that target. Or the same way with sausages or black and white puddings, you have to reach a target to get the amount of money that
they knew what you'd sell, so they set it above it.
You're pushing stuff down the people's throats, actually. Yeah. But then again, you say, oh God, I packed up that business there. You say you wouldn't go back to it for a couple of days anyway, at least, because they couldn't consume it quick enough. Yeah. You see, it was a product that had to be consumed and couldn't be left in the shelves, so it would just go off. So it was hard old trade. But it was good in a sense that as I said, I don't want to be repeating myself, that you got out and about, and you got to see different counties. I did live up to Westport. There isn't a county in this country that I delivered. Donegal, Cork, Kerry, Waterford, all of those areas.
The whole lot, even up north.
Dublin as well.
And there were 65 of you in there.
Pardon?
65 of you in the bake
in the Limerick Bake Company.
And do you
there was 200. There was 500 in Galty Foods. That's including the workers in the factory and salespeople as well. There was 500 in Galty Foods. In Donnelly's, there could be about 200, 250. And there was only 3 of us here in Limerick, 3 salesmen. But there's 3 in Cork, 3 in Galway, 3 in Waterford, 2 in Kilkenny, and maybe up the west, maybe 1 or 2 as well. But very few salespeople. It's mostly a big hard industry as well.
Okay.
But memorable days. Well, I suppose you'd have to go back and try and think of what we had, what we did, but we got through a lot.
Very good. And do you still keep in touch with some of the people that you worked with?
I do, with the lads in Cork and a lad in Galway, and they're still alive.
Did you find it lonely, Tony, if you weren't, like, you weren't working together? But,
No.
yeah.
Well, some of them have gone into ill health, all right. And I find that at this stage, like, it's sad to see people at that stage. Like one lad, I don't want it off the record. I don't be saying it, but.
Well, I just paused it if you want it off the record. Yeah. So the wages were good anyway, you were saying?
The wages were pretty good and good living as well.
Did you pay pension then or anything? Or?
No, you had no pension.
No
Pension.
So once you were finished,
paid the pension fund, but by the time anything like that would mature, the company was gone into gone off gone into liquidation or gone out of business, either of the two.
Yeah.
So we just survived from company to company then after that. But
my God.
It was I don't know how could you describe. It wasn't a trade. It was just you were a salesperson for these people, and you promoted a product and the factory. You were the first person and the last person from the factory that you were selling the product that the customer would beat, and the complaint you'd get, you had to bring that back. We had sales meetings once a month with Donnelly's in either Clonmel or Dublin. You had to go down once a month to those meetings, or you'd have a sales meeting with Galty Foods once a month as well. Go down to the factory and see the new product, go through the whole factory to show the whole line of what they made, what they did, how they went to the trouble of getting this product up and running, and all sorts of research areas down there to get in the product and then analyse anything that was inside and see could they improve on the opposition's products as well and bring something better again. So they were always looking for something extra that
they can do to improve or
to
to
always
progress.
try and have one better than the opposition.
Of course, yeah.
But Clover were great on Fern, but at times passed them by as far as they couldn't modernise the factory above there. To have to just leave it there and go build a new.
And
like
build
everything
new
else
place,
at the time, when Galty Foods came on the market in the 70s, or 60, 68, 67, 68, when they came on the market there, they had a new product. What's his name? Emmy Cusson, he was the managing director of the firm. He worked in England with a number of firms for Walls. They were a baking factory in England, and he brought over 20 or 30 guys from Mitchelstown to work in the factory as baking hands, butchers, the whole lot, or whole trade. And he did 3 or 4 years of that and brought him back into Cork. He didn't relate to the people that he was working for, what he was doing. But came back, set up a company in Mitchelstown, and hence Galty Foods came out of that. And all these people were very efficient in what they did, and they had everything ready for they were going to launch their product.
My God.
Revolutionised the trade at the time.
Changed a lot of things.
And some of the taste of the sausages, people's taste varied. They wanted a hot sausage, a spicy sausage, you know. But I say most sausages are very bland.
Okay.
You know, it depends on what you have with them. Say there's tomatoes or rashers or black white pudding, but the majority of sometimes then they put in a spice into a sausage, which it doesn't help it, the product. But they put in the best of the bacon, cuts of bacon that would be you couldn't sell. They'd put in that to be emulsified
and put in.
And to be put in with the spices and with the cereal as well to make it up. But the finer trade of some of the factories, they went into making a good ham. They all came back into the tradition of selling a good ham.
Okay.
Limerick ham died a death in, say, when Madison's Clover went there was no longer a Limerick ham on the
Okay.
market because nobody was cooking a Limerick ham. Limerick Baking Company were the last people to make Limerick ham. You'll see Limerick ham advertised in a hotel. You go to dinner someplace.
But it's not
Limerick-
ham, no.
No such thing as a Limerick ham today.
No.
It's gone. It's out. The curing of the product, we used to get raw pork outside in the factory. It was cured, and from there on, the whole lot came out. Everything was pre-packed. Everything was clean and very well presented outside. I can't express myself of what went on in these places,
Yeah.
or what they were like, but it's difficult to explain.
Well, yours is slightly different as well, because you
pardon?
were sales. You were slightly different because yours is sales.
Well, I worked in the Limerick Baking Factory as well. I worked through every part of the factory to
Did
see
you?
what it was like. I did.
Which one was
Making
this?
Limerick Baking Factory outside in Raheen.
Okay.
I worked in the sausage part. I worked cooking black and white pudding, cooking
Yeah.
ham. I wanted to see the whole trade
whole
myself.
thing,
I was
yeah.
still a salesman.
Yeah.
Still went out and sold the stuff afterwards. But I'd take a day off. I can go into the factory and work there.
So you kind of knew what you were selling
to see
as
what
well.
it was like. And well, I mean, I wasn't doing the big lifting of the big size of bacon. That was done by bigger guys than me, like that could lift me up, put me up, and me up. But, still, as I said, I wanted to see how the product was made because I could relate to the customer, I could stand over the product at all time. And that's the true part of the salesman.
Yeah.
Confidence in his product.
Yeah.
If he has confidence in that product, he'll sell you anything.
It's good
He'll sell you
customer
clothes,
service.
pegs or cars, either of the two.
Yeah.
That's the sign of a good salesman. But we all had competitions for different things. We're all good at one thing and bad at something else maybe. But that was part of the trade. I couldn't. There isn't words enough to describe the trade of what it was like. There aren't books enough to be written about the trade. The stories will never be told. If we go to the end of the candle, we still won't get the end of the
No.
stories about the baking company. It was a brilliant product, and a pity that the demise of it came years back. And we were renowned for our baking, for our Limerick lace and for our Limerick products, as you see. As I said, as I mentioned earlier on, the clothing factory, they made uniforms for the Crimean War. They made uniforms for the Civil War in America. So we made Cleve's factory outside. They had produced condensed milk for the troops outside in the desert. You know, tin milk
Yeah.
came from Limerick factory here in Limerick.
Okay.
You know, there's no industry left in the city. We had 9 bakeries. They're
Yeah.
gone. There's
It's
one loaf of
amazing,
bread
isn't it?
baked in Limerick. There's one sausage, one loaf of bread. Nothing is made in Limerick anymore. Maybe, in a sense, that people say, "Oh, that was the trades were dirty." They weren't. They're all modern. They're all modern. No, I can't, unless you have questions, ask me.
No,
I
that's
can't
perfect,
think.
Tony. That
I can't
was
think of anything. If
fantastic.
you want to
Thank
ask
you.
me anything, ask me.
No, I think you covered everything. Thank you.
It might enlighten me to. If you ask me a question, it might enlighten me to think of something else. But I haven't any. If you have other people that came in and told you all the different things, I couldn't. I could add or maybe to other things that they had told me. But I knew not an awful lot of people in the trade, but we're all scattered around.
Scattered now,
We
yeah.
hardly see one another now.
Okay, Tony, I'll thank you for that anyway. I might contact you again if something else comes up.
Anytime at all.
Thank
And
you.
my number you have.
I do. I have that. Yeah. Thanks very much,
Good.
Tony.
Not
Thank
at all,
you.
Not at all. And as I said, it is a nice